When we are involving mixed numbers, dividing with mixed numbers cannot be done easily. Again, it's even more difficult than fractions. And so when we do have something with mixed numbers, they must be converted to an improper fraction before dividing. So the big thing with mixed numbers is making sure that we divide it into or make it into an improper fraction before we divide. So anytime we have a mixed number like this, even though they might be easier to understand because we have that whole number, which helps. So right, like this is 2 full ones and then 2/3 of another one. 2 is just 2, nice and easy. 8 full ones and then 3/5 of the last one there. Okay, so they are simpler, but we need to convert into improper fraction before we do any dividing. So the first one here, we have 2 2/3, which is the same as 2 times 3, which is 6, plus 2, so this is 8/3, divided by 2/1. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. 8/3 times 1/2. Okay, and this is going to give us our final answer. Now, if we look at this one here, 8 and 2, we can divide both of them by 2. And so 4 times 1 is 4, 3 times 1 is 3, and we get an answer of 4/3, which is equal to 1 1/3. Now again, when we are solving, either one of these answers is legit. Remember that if we finish off with an improper fraction and then convert into a mixed number, there's one more place for a mistake to be made, but that is an option that you can do as well. Okay? So that's how we would solve that. Again, convert to an improper fraction, multiply by the reciprocal, and come up with and simplify our final answer if we need to. We can also deal with much bigger numbers. 8 times 5 is 40 plus 3, so this is 43/5. And 2 times 4 is 8 plus 3 is 11, so we're dividing 11/4. Now, we're dealing with bigger numbers, which is okay. 43/5 times the reciprocal, 4/11. 43 times 4 would be 172. Again, big number. Okay, if you can't do mental math, use a little bit of scrap paper when you're doing that. If you absolutely need to, you can try with using a calculator. 5 times 11 is 55. And this one right here, let's see, I believe that is in lowest terms. Let me just determine really quickly. Whoops. Yeah, that's in lowest terms. This would be the same as 3 and, 7/55. Again, big numbers. Sometimes multiplying can do that. On your assignments, I've tried to keep them as small as possible, but there are some big numbers that are going to creep in there as well. Number 3, 7.5 divided by 1 7/8. So we have 7 times 2, so this is 15/2, divided by 1 times 8 is 8, plus 7 is 15, so divided by 15/8. Now, when we move that into dividing or multiplying by the reciprocal, this will be 15/2 times 8/15. Now, some of you are like, hey, Mr. Berkman, we can simplify this off nicely. Yeah, we can. Both those are 15, so let's divide both by 15. Done. These can both be divided by 2. And what you might notice is 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. This is 4. Wow. That's a simplified number, is it not, right? Otherwise, we would be getting some huge numbers here if we didn't simplify first. So if you can do that, glad to go ahead and try that out. It makes it much simpler in the end if you're able to do that at the start. Let's try a couple other examples here. So here we have 4 divided by 3/2. So this is going to be 4/1 times 2/3. These ones don't simplify at all. 1 and 2, 4 and 3 don't. So we multiply 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 3 is 3. And we get an answer of 8/3. Okay, next one here, 7 divided by 3. Well, you're like, oh, that's actually just regular numbers. But this would give us a decimal answer, and we're dealing with fractions, so we have to make both of them into fractions. So this will be 7 over 1 times 1 over 3, which would be 7 over 3, or 2 1/3. If you were to punch this into a calculator here, you would get 2.3 repeated, which is the same as 7 over 3. All right, 15 over 4 divided by 1/4. Now, remember, we're trying to figure out how many quarters are there in 15 over 4. Well, there's 15 of them. So that should be our answer. Let's check. 15 over 4 times 4 over 1, because we are multiplying by the reciprocal. We can actually cancel these out. And this is 15 times 1, which is 15. 1 times 1 is 1. And our final answer is just 15. Look at that. That was a nice one, wasn't it? Okay, so that would be our final answer there. The last one, it's last but definitely not least, 19 over 18. Some big numbers there, divided by 1/9, so we're multiplying by 9 over 1. These can both be divided by 9, and we're going to be left with 19 over 2. And that would be our final answer. Okay, simplify if we can, and then we multiply. Okay, remember that when we are dividing by fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal, so we have to switch that second one around, multiply through. If you're able to simplify ahead of time, do that. If you can't, simplify later on. Questions 7 to 14 to finish off. The first couple are ones where you are dealing with dividing of improper and mixed numbers. So work on those. And then 9 through 14, I believe, I should maybe double check that, but I believe 9 through 14 are all word problems. And so working through word problems using multiplication and division.